Hey, this is Kevin Man 50 coming back with the second video of my Magnatraction tear down and cleaning and modifications. We've got the 45 thousandths per side of the shim, so it goes to the tech block. I could probably go a little more, like I said, but I don't feel like messing with it too much. That should be good enough. I got the wheels and tires, everything on the back too. They roll real good. Front tires do too. Just showing you something. We checked the other ones. They were 440s for the front tires. Look at that, 410s, and it's still smaller than that. The back ones were what, 454s, and now they're 444s. Boom. So it just shows you how much further down we've gone with the chassis and everything. Something I forgot to do, we should have gauzed the car before I started it and then after. But usually we pick up about one complete point usually on every time I've done this. This is not the first car I've done. This is probably the 5th or 6th car I've done so far in the last little bit of time. Now, like I said, what I did is I already took the one out of the one side here. Let me take the little piece out of this side that we installed just to wedge the magnet forward a little bit, just so we can get it closer to the motor. Okay, another thing I've always done, the car's had a lot of miles on it. I mark the gears, back and front, thin back, just so they're in the same spot when I put everything back together. Seems like it helps. I don't know how much it helps exactly, but I've done it for years and it seemed like it's worked out for me. So I just kept doing it that way. Okay. Now, let's hope I don't wipe off any of the thing with the alcohol then. Clean the top gears and everything off a little bit with alcohol. That'll make sure the top plate is free of any debris. You see there's a lot of junk in here. Just clean it off real good. Make sure there's no debris on there. Same with hair, stuff like that. There, now it's not as dirty as it was. And let's clean off the bottom here a little bit too. Clean off this real good. Get as much off as possible. And do a cleaning. See how dirty the motor is? A lot cleaner than it was. But before I do anything, the thing I like to do is take the paint off the side of the motor. See the paint on the motor? Sometimes it's a little difficult, but take it and take this and grab it right where you see there's a paint chipping or anything. The paint on here is pretty thick. Just be careful taking it all off. Sometimes like that, it comes off in one section. Sometimes it don't. So make sure you get the paint off the motor. Now, I don't know if you've ever noticed, all the new Auto World cars don't have paint on them. And they've got better magnets in them, better motor magnets too. So that kind of helps them be a little faster. There. Now you can take the whole thing off, or just the main large magnet is what I do. I used to take all of it off. I don't think all of it really makes a huge difference, but I've noticed the thin plate, the one plate here, does, because there's more metal there than the other two lambs. Again, just take it, scrape it off. And again, be careful. Don't chop your finger off. One thing I've done on the inline motors that I've done for years is taken with the motor running, piece of sandpaper, grind down on the motor, polish a little bit. I've noticed that helps give them a little bit more power too. It ain't dramatic, but it's still a little bit. Even a couple 100,000 RPMs is still better than nothing. I mean, because those motors spin pretty hard. Let's see. This is being a pain in the butt. There we go. Okay. All of them done. I think it's the top part of this one here. So let me just finish the top part of this one. Again, if you want to do it all the lambs, that's on you. I found it really don't make a huge difference. Plus, I think it's more noticeable if you do them all anyways. There. Now, like I've showed you before, take your sandpaper, sand the bottom of the motor down. That helps re-break the brushes back in, takes any debris off the top of the brushes or any now, I don't use this on most of my stock Auroras unless I'm doing them for racing or anything, as in doing the taking the paint off. Most of them I leave alone. Now, again, pen. Take and run it right down here. You can actually feel it pushing the brass down. And then it cleans it out too. Trying to take that little knife edge off. There we go. Yep, you can feel it right there. Boom. Looking good. Now, take your springs, lay them as flat as possible. Clean it off. Usually they're not super duper filthy as much as the brushes are, because unless you over oil them very much, you're not going to get a lot of oil on the springs themselves. That one doesn't seem as filthy. Let's see how filthy this one is. That one's pretty filthy. Let's clean it one more time. Now, take your toothpick and the brush spring, put right in the hole of where the brush spring goes into. Boom. Sits right in there nice and straight. Try to, I should say. Same with this one. Pick it up into the hole. Bang. Nice and easy, lemon squeezy. Now on your brushes, there's a little indentation on the top where that fits right down in the spring. Put them down. Try to keep them nice and centered in there. There. And just for shits and giggles, just clean out one more time. Top of the brushes. Now, if you're racing serious and the sky's the limit, I take a drill and Swiss cheese a chassis. But this is not that open. We're going to race this. It's just a few odds and little mods that we're allowed to do. Back in. Boom, boom, boom. Push on the bottom just to make sure they're seated and they're good. Take your gear. Take a little bit of oil. Put the pin here. Squeeze a little there, there. And gear. Fat front, then back. Front gear's not in all the way. So pop the gear up and run it 1 tooth forward. Back here. Bam. Now, one thing I've always noticed is when you clip this in, clip one side, the other, is sometimes this touches the top of the gear. You might want to push it up just a little bit, just so it doesn't touch. Extremely loose. One little oil top of the gear here. Run underneath. Inside the gear here. A little bit there. On the gear there. Last little bit of drop. Put on the main part of the motor. Wipe it off. Now you watch it crown. This one did do it this much. Done. Always wipe it off. Don't let anything sit in there because that'll suck into the motor. Very loose car. Extremely loose. Good. I mean, look at that. Okay. Now, everybody always says, why do I wait till the last to do this? Because it's so much easier to do this while the car is completely together. Now, they don't get too filthy in here. Sometimes they get a little green in there. I take the same tool that I do the brushes with, polish the pocket. Yeah. Yep, clean. Take a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. And look at that, clean it out. Doesn't look it's a lot, but look at how much difference it made. Paper towel. Now, toothpick. Take the spring. Same thing. It's not that dirty. Not really that dirty. Go down in a downwards motion. This way it'll keep the spring, instead of flipping it off, keep the spring on the toothpick. Which they made a hole here to put this on, but guess what? They didn't. Okay. Seat it. Now, make sure underneath the pickup is in good shape, which that one is. Good and clean. Couldn't clean in there. Let's see. Okay, clean that out. Come in from the side. In, hold it, clip it. Come in from the side. It's easier to slide it in from the side right here. And as soon as it starts going, it'll let it seat itself in. Boom, done. Okay, there we go. Real loose car. Car runs good. You see where the magnet sits down further in than it did before. And like I said, I should have gauzed it before this, but we'll see what happens. .5. Not too shabby. Car's assembled 1.5. Okay, I'm going to stop it right here for a second. I'm going to go downstairs and we're going to go ahead and show you how the car runs. Okay, everybody, this is Kevin Vitamin 50, last part of my second half. I just went ahead and painted the rims black. I took a black magic marker and painted them. Tricked the car out a little bit. Looks good. Let's take it for a drive. Wow, huge difference. Doesn't slide as much. It still slides a little bit, but as you can see, the car is way more intense now. I bet you I sped up about 2 seconds faster around this track, maybe 3. The car is easier to handle now. I can deepen it into the turns a little more. As you can see, just an intense car now. Made a huge difference. Huge difference. Check out the first video I ran and then check this one out side by side. Look at that. Huge difference. Little tricks of the trade that I've learned over years. The other guys showed me some of them. Like I said, I take these cars and I take them to different tracks around the area and race them, or I race them against friends or whatever. A few of us got tracks in this area, so we race each other. But that's the stuff I do. Some of the guys know my tricks, not all of them. If they watch this video, probably learn a few of them. I still have more tricks that I haven't showed because I like to keep some of it under my hat. But again, you can either take all the paint off the motor or just the center part of the lambs where the lambs go straight up and down on them. Like I said, most of the new Auto Worlds are already done. They're not painted on that part of the motor anymore. Better magnets. Some of the cars we're running, we're just running the same car, but with Auto World magnets on. So that makes a huge difference too. So if there's any questions you have, go ahead and send them to me. Please like all my videos. I really appreciate if you like them. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Everybody have a good day, and thanks for watching. Bye.